Hello, everybody. Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas. I have some new information I'm going to share with everybody about the Hailey Dunn case. She is the famous missing, murdered 13-year-old that went missing from Colorado City, Texas, about 80 miles from here in 2010, and then her remains were found outside of, we're in Scurry County, outside of Big Spring. 2 days after I wrote the Department of Justice and suggested they have somebody look in the underground homes here near my home that's been said to be here by multiple people. You know, I've documented, recorded phone calls. Even one of them was a sheriff candidate telling us that the late Gary Painter, Sheriff Painter, used to hide out down there, hang out in these underground homes that are believed to have been hosting oil show parties, and I suspect connected with uh, prostitution, possibly illegal gambling, maybe game rooms. That's a whole nother story. But anyway, here is a print screen, and that I want to show you. This is the new information, and it's dated. This is from a private message, February 1st, 2021, so less than 2 months ago. I forwarded this to Sheriff Kreiner and the Texas Rangers, and the reason here that I did that, is because if you come to me and say, hey, I have information on the murder of a little kid, but I don't want you to say anything, well, that's not going to happen. If you come to me and say, I have information on the murder of a little kid, then I am going to say something, because that's who I am, and you should too. It's the right thing to do. If you know about these underground homes here, you should be talking to law enforcement and telling everybody you know about them, because they're also connected to the murder of children, as far as I'm concerned. Young girl was murdered in 2010. Anyways, here I'm gonna go over this message here that I got, and I left this person's anonymous because she's afraid, and you're gonna see why here in a minute. And here I'm being told, but so and so ran with the Aryan Nation. That's a gang is what it is. The Aryan Brotherhood, the Aryan Circle, etc. As she seen Hailey Dunn two different times. One was at Jackie Thompson's, and one at a connection. And Jackie Thompson is the former Odessa police officer that went to prison. The news said that I think he admitted to moving 500 pounds of meth or something like that, and then he got 17 years, and then he got out of jail because of COVID. I wonder if he didn't get out of jail because he knows about what's going on here. But either way, she called me, asked what she should do. Okay. And I told her to give me the information. I will call cops. She was scared. Took her a few days to tell me. When she did, 30 minutes after she told me, she called me crying, saying she went back to the connection's house and Hailey was dead. They hid her out in a septic tank for 2 days, then dumped her in Big Spring. That's where Scurry County is over there. And then please never use my name, because, these are dangerous criminals, connected with murders. And it is believed that we have a police corruption problem. Remember that I had to save up disability money to offer a award to identify 11 police that were caught on camera, accidentally caught themselves covering up the murder attempt on my life. And then finally, 7 years later, I get the police report that had been illegally withheld from me, and 6 of their names wasn't even on the report, and 2 of them are dead. And so nobody can tell me we don't have some police corruption going on here. We do, and that makes it very scary for citizens that are trying to report crime. Okay, not to mention this gang. Okay, that's alleged to be involved in this murder. Okay, I wanted to show you that. The reason that I decided to go ahead and go public with that is because I got forwarded this message here from Who Killed Hailey Dunn. That's a Facebook page, and it's my belief that it's created by the father of Hailey Dunn, Clint Dunn, and his private investigator, a woman named Erica Morse. And I'll just read real quick what she said. Since mid-2020, we have considered this case to be solved. It is not an idea or opinion we pulled out of the air. It's based upon a series of conversations directly with those in charge of the case. From that point on, we stepped back and gave them the space they needed to complete the mission. Now we're approaching 8 months since the last contact. Emails and phone calls have gone returned again, resulting in unneeded and unnecessary stress to a father who is doing his best to try and put some of this behind him while rebuilding his life from scratch. What we're trying to do now is bring to light the fact that yet again promises were made, names were disclosed, and movement has stalled again. If you were in our client's shoes, how long would you be willing to wait after being given the names of the individuals who murdered your child in cold blood? How long would you be willing to wait for others to do the job they cannot seem to get done? It feels like this was done again to stop our efforts to find justice. We have done our jobs, they have not. We're not here to convince you anymore. There has been a decade of hell for many, and the community needs closure just as much as Hailey's father. To know the circumstances of both individuals responsible for her death is infuriating. If we could only tell you without worry of being hit with obstruction charges or being blamed for running the case, we would tell you in a heartbeat. We are working to find an attorney who can tell us if it's legal to release the names of both men to the public through counsel based on the continued intentional stalling so that you can know who the killers are walking around free in your area. This is way beyond unfair. This is beyond cruel. We are no longer looking to convince anyone because we can prove it all. We are merely trying to ensure that justice is finally delivered for that sweet little girl and that no one else loses their life. Okay. Facebook page, who killed Hailey Dunn? Well, I shared that and I put my comments, and we're going to go over these comments because I'm going to show you, to put it bluntly, I think this page, this private investigator and Clint Dunn have been spreading misinformation and for whatever reason, I have my own guesses of why, but I think that, in the end that's going to be proven to be true. So what I did, I have my write-up and I broke it down into paragraphs, and then I backed it up with evidence to back up what I say. Because unlike this Facebook page that is all talk and never shows any kind of evidence, no proof whatsoever, all they try to do is just discredit overwhelming amounts of evidence, and that's why I'm saying I think they're really trying to basically spread misinformation. They have focused solely on Sean Atkins, and the police have never arrested Sean Atkins, the boyfriend of the mother, Billy Dunn, and I think the reason is because out of the dozen people that I've documented saying Hailey was killed in Odessa, ain't nobody said that Sean Atkins was there, and I've got the names of people that were there from multiple different people, and I secretly recorded phone calls, screenshots, when I say it, it's backed up, and that's what's going on here. Okay. So anyway, I started I don't know if that's the top here. Let's go at the very top. Okay. The Who Killed Hailey Dunn is a Facebook page by Hailey Dunn's father, Clint Dunn, and his PI. I've long suspected they were trying to spread misinformation about this murder. In fact, I secretly recorded Clint Dunn telling me that he believed what Sonja Renee Callahan had said, which is that Hailey was overdosed at home over in Odessa. Sonja wasn't the only person to say this either. Okay, and that's down here on the bottom. In fact, I secretly recorded Clint Dunn, and then I have a video that I made, and to keep this video short, I just put the links to these other proof videos. And it's called Clint Dunn Says Some Stinky Shit's Going On Here. And that was his words when the phone call. I secretly recorded a phone call with Clint Dunn. And that's what he told me on that phone call, that he believed what Sonja Renee Callahan said. And Sonja Renee Callahan has been saying for years that Hailey was killed at a home over in Odessa. She was a witness to it. I mean, I recorded her on the phone telling me, buddy, what was I supposed to do? It was either her and me or just her, And that's another video I didn't even put here called Child Killers. My next paragraph. In October 2012, News West 9 reported that a woman named Sonja Renee Callahan was at a home over in Odessa where a young girl matching Hailey Dunn's description was overdosed and died. Callahan was alleged to say it was all sparked from a dope deal that went horribly wrong, and Hailey was supposedly used as collateral for a drug debt that the team's family owed. And I put a link to the News West 9 story where I got that quote from. Okay, and that's going to be important because it's backed up by multiple other people. Okay, I was later told about a phone call that was posted on the internet between a Hailey Dunn blogger and a woman named Allison Frazier. She said that her baby daddy, which was Kevin Rickman, told her that they kidnapped Hailey over in Colorado City and took her to Odessa to pimp her out. I mean, names of the people that kidnapped her. And because the mom owed a drug debt. Okay, that's the reason I put that in here, because that's the second person that said the same exact thing about this drug debt. The baby daddy was an Aryan Brotherhood gang member now doing life in prison. Isn't that interesting? Because remember what I showed you there on the new evidence, new witness was, that used to run with the Aryan Nation. Okay. So, I'm not going to, play all this to keep this short, but I have the link to the video. Another tell a while where this is not my phone call. This is somebody else's phone call. This is what I call the tell-all. It tells what happened when they kidnapped her and who was there and what she was wearing and just all kinds of details. I mean, you can't listen to it and not go, oh, no, that thing is packed with facts, okay? A drug rehab counselor named Christy Smith Otts told me about a guy named Brett Bushman confessed to her about the murder of Hailey Dunn and that she was taken by some drug dealers because the mom owed $135 worth of meth. Are you seeing a pattern here? This is the third person said Hailey was killed over a drug debt. I was told by several people that the mom was a stripper at the time, so that made sense. Well, I'm going, well, the mom's a stripper, and not only that, I was told she was taking Hailey to the strip club with her, this 13-year-old little daughter, okay? And so it just kind of makes sense, but maybe we got some gang members up there at the strip club, right, that have meth, right? And so here's another video. I'll put the link on the drug counselor Hailey Dunn murder, and there's a lot more information there. This is all the short story, okay? I recorded another woman who told me that her friend was there at the home over in Odessa where Hailey was overdosed, but she said that it wasn't for $135 a meth, but $130. Okay, so corrected the amount. Wasn't $135, $130. So now we got the fourth person saying Hailey was killed over a drug debt. In a later news story by News West 9, they mentioned that Hailey's mother, Billy Dunn, had withdrawn $140 from an ATM. There's a video. I've got it in this video. After Hailey was reported missing, I wondered if she got that money to pay off the drug debt, which Hailey was alleged to have been kidnapped and killed for. And that you can hear and see that in this video right here. Hailey Dunn killed over a family drug debt. Okay, and that has the news, and it just seemed very interesting. News West 9 mentioned $140, and I got multiple people saying that she was killed over $135. No, it wasn't $135, it was $130. You see where, you see how that adds up? Just a couple of months ago, I was told about a woman. A couple of months ago, a woman told me about a family member of hers that was at a home in Odessa, and she had spoken with Hailey in the bathroom, but when she went back over there 2 weeks later, Hailey was dead. According to her, they initially put her body in the septic tank. She gave me the address and names, which I forwarded to Sheriff Kreiner and Texas Rangers, and that's what I opened this video up with, was this print screen right here. This was sent to Texas Rangers and Kreiner, and what I said a minute ago, you come to me and say, I got information on the murder of a little kid, but I don't want you to tell anybody. It's not going to happen, okay? Yeah, I mean, it's not. One, I could go to jail for it. You could go to jail. Yeah, I mean, that's all there is to it. My connection to this Hailey Dunn case started on March 14, 2013, when I wrote the Department of Justice suggested they look in the underground homes near my home for clues in the disappearance of Hailey, and 2 days later, her remains were found outside of Scary County by Big Springs. What an amazing coincidence. 2 days later, okay, that I wrote the Department of Justice and suggested they look in these underground homes here near my home. I mean, it looks like one's in my backyard on Google Maps. That's what I talk about most of the time is the murder attempt on my life, right? Or the girl that was murdered at the 2010 oil show party that I believe that happened in these underground homes, or the suspected murder of the last guy that owned this house died the week before the 2008 oil show started. Okay, so anyway, this is a copy of the email that I sent there in 2013, and there's the date, March 14, 2013. 2 days later, the remains of Hailey just happened to be found, so nobody come and looked here. My name is Buddy Webb, and I live here. I have overwhelming evidence to support the allegation of an underground facility, right? Let's see. I talk about the child's toy I found in the attic, a girl that looked to be underage, in the secluded trucking lane behind my house, behind Home Depot. I suspected child sex extravagance going on. I believe these slavers are using these children to make money. I believe that some of these slavers could be the same people who kidnapped Hailey Dunn. That's what I'm writing. Maybe she's being held by slavers under my home right now, right? That's what I'm saying. I suspect there have been other murders which can be tied directly to these people in this underground facility. Keep in mind, this wasn't sent yesterday. This was sent in 2013, 8 years ago, okay? 8 years ago. Better write that. And 2 days later, the remains of Hailey. That was my connection. And now I've documented all these people telling me that Hailey was killed in Odessa. How, where, when, what she's wearing, etc. I've now documented around a dozen people saying this killing in Odessa. Many of these are recorded conversations, emails, and screenshots. This has led me to believe that she was killed in Odessa and then moved to Scurry County to cover it up, okay? And then here's a video called Hailey Dunn Timeline. And on that video, what I did was this person told me that on this date, and I show the print screener, the recording. This person told me this on this date. News West 9 posted this story on this date. This happened on this date. This happened. It's a fact-filled timeline of what's happened. Very clear, lays it out. It don't have this latest one, and the latest one is that they put Hailey in a septic tank and then mention once again Jackie Thompson. Jackie Thompson had also been mentioned in that phone call with Allison Frazier and the Hailey Dunn blogger, okay? And like I said, he's the former Odessa police officer. And here's the logical question. So what could explain the cover-up of this little girl, right? Obviously, there's a cover-up going on. My guess is that Hailey and her mom was at the underground oil show parties in 2010, which are by my house, and the same people covering up the murder attempt on my life. I was shot by somebody under my home. The murder of the young girl at the 2010 oil show party that Angie told me about, and the suspected murder of the last homeowner, Mike Lawhunt, who died the week before the 2008 oil show. Okay, and so that's what I'm saying. This is a theory or a guess that Billy Dunn, the mother, and Hailey were at these at the underground oil show parties in 2010. That happened 2 months before she was reported missing, and I think better yet said before she was kidnapped by gang members in an alley in Colorado City. That's according to that one phone call. Okay, supposedly that's what Rickman had told Allison. Okay, and that's what's in that phone call. Why do I think they were at the oil show parties? Now that's a logical question. Did I just pull that out of my butt and think, oh well, maybe Hailey was at the oil show parties? No, I didn't. I think because I found out that Hailey's mom was a stripper, okay, which is you never see that in the news, right? I mean, they've hidden that from the public. You never see the private investigator that has all this evidence they never share with the public talking about the mom was a stripper, right? Well, maybe somebody at the strip club knows something about that little girl, right? But either way, it makes sense that all the strippers in the area were working at those oil show parties. They are big events, okay? And my friend that was ordered to work was there with a lot of other people that were ordered to work. You can bet every stripper in the area was told they would be working the week of the oil show. I was told that Billy had been taking Hailey to the strip clubs with her, so it makes sense that she took Hailey too, right? If she's taking her to the strip clubs, then it makes sense that she took her to the oil show party, the underground oil show party by my house. That would place them in the secret 3-bedroom, $1 million underground home in my backyard in October 2010, 2 months before Hailey was reported missing. Okay, now let me show you here, okay? Here, it's not just Buddy saying that. Buddy took print screens, right, of other people. Law enforcement can verify this. I'm the one putting it in public, so everybody, it's not what Buddy said so-and-so said. Buddy's got a print screen. Buddy's got a phone call recorded, okay? So anyway, Janice Freeman Driver says, now, Buddy, I heard that about Billy from a very reliable source and that Hailey was going with her as well, but staying in the dressing room while BD, Billy Dunn, worked the pole. That would be the stripper pole, okay? And then a second person who was an admin on the Hope for Hailey Dunn Facebook group named, it'll come to me in a minute. I've got her name. But anyway, she tells me, keep in mind, while she was stripping, it was a third job because Clint didn't work. She's a nurse. She was doing secretarial work. Now, this person right here, who was that admin for Hope for Hailey Dunn, was a personal friend of Billy, okay? And she was actually mad, but she was confirming what I said, that Billy was a stripper during that time. And I'm saying, I bet you all the strippers were at the underground oil show parties. And if she was taking Hailey to the strip clubs, then I got a feeling she took her to the oil show parties, and I'm gonna go ahead and finish this up. This one's real interesting. A guy named Michael Morales told me that he heard Clint Dunn, the father, was pimping out Hailey to his oil-filled friends for $500 each. I wondered if Clint was also at the underground oil show parties, and that was to his oil-filled friends, okay? And so here, it's not, once again, it's not Buddy saying Michael said it. I got the print screen when he said, I was told that she was pimped out to her father's oil-filled friends. I was told the father would get up to $500, okay? And so that's what makes you wonder there on this who killed Hailey Dunn, and and the father, there, and they're spreading all this misinformation, and so that somebody's lying. Can we all agree to that, right? And so here, let's look at this last one. I have a feeling that the wealthy and powerful people at those parties, at the underground oil show parties, don't want anybody to find out about this famous missing murdered child. Find out this missing murdered child was there, that Hailey Dunn was there. It looks like they've also covered up the murder of Michael Callahan, the previous owner of my home, who died the week before the 2008 oil show started, and then I moved in the week after. The murder of the young girl at the 2010 oil show party that Angie told me about, and then the home invasion and murder attempt on my life. The amount of evidence is amazing. And of course, that's my story. And I'm shot by somebody under my home. Irrefutable evidence shows I wasn't shot with my gun. And remember, I had to pay, to get them secret police identified. This one, this is my last picture, and I'm ending this video. But what I'll show you, go to Google Maps, maps.google.com, put in my address, 3802 Fair Circle. Okay, and then you look, you'll see two maps. One of them's the map screen, and the other's the satellite screen. Okay, the map screen, you see this large building in my backyard. Okay, I call it a bunker. Okay, this is my home. This is where I was ambushed and shot. Okay, and so there it is. We can see it. Okay, but when you go to the satellite screen, it's not there. So this large building is not there. And I've documented all these people saying that $1 million underground homes are here. And that's what I'm listing out here. A woman was recorded. Okay, you can listen to that recording, on my YouTube channel under $1 million underground facilities. A woman was recorded telling me there were 4 3-bedroom underground homes were here. I believe that's one of them 4 right there. I believe Google Maps is showing it on their map screen. Rhonda Denman Rogers told me that underground home's a half block away. I suspect that's one of the other 4. It's right around the corner in an empty lot. Layla O'Brien said she worked on this safe house project, which cost $7.35 million, was finished in 1987. She told me that they called it the Safe House Project, and she believed the Bushes were involved in putting it in. In 1987, George H.W. Bush was vice president of the United States, and Midland, Texas is the hometown of the Bushes. Now, that's a lot of details for old Layla O'Brien to make up. Don't you agree? I asked her, I said, didn't you have to sign a non-disclosure agreement? Oh, I had to sign more stuff for that job than any job, I ever had to work on. Of course, we're talking 20, 30 years ago, right? And, and so, this is one person after another person, plus Google Maps shows it here. This is where I believe the oil show parties were at. This is where I believe that little girl was murdered. They found the remains of a young girl outside of Midland in 2013, right? This is where I believe Billy Dunn and Hailey Dunn were at during the October 2010, 2 months before she went missing. And I believe it's connected, to the murder of the last suspected murder of the last homeowner who died the week before the 2008 oil show started, and then the attempted murder on my life in 2012 after I started contacting law enforcement about the crimes here. Okay, and then finally, sheriff candidate Joe Lozano, a guy running for Midland sheriff, told me that the underground homes was a hideout for the late Sheriff Gary Painter. I was recording the phone call. Hey, you can listen to that one too. It's called Sheriff Painter's Hideout, and Joe stops me and says, buddy, that was old Painter's hideout, and I'm like, wow, how many people does it take to saying that they're there? You can see it on the map screen. Yeah, you got a dead body of a little girl found, all of this documentation, right? And then you're seeing this crap right here, and so anyways, I want to share that. Hopefully, hopefully Hailey's killers are arrested real soon because there's plenty of evidence. I provided all of this evidence to law enforcement. This is Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas.